Before you skip to the end of my video and copy all the code, I want you to listen to me. This video is not based on the code. It is also based on Unity. So I need you to watch the full video so you don't miss on anything, because I can guarantee you're going to get a lot of issues. This goes for the rest of my videos. Don't really just skip to the end of the video and copy all my code. One, I don't get watch time, so that kind of hurts me. And two, I spend a lot of time on these videos, so that also kind of is offensive. Three, you miss lots of stuff in between the videos. It's not all code. I'm telling you, a Unity game is not just making the UI and making the code and you're done. There's a lot more to it. So please just make sure you stick around, watch the full video. I'm going to be doing lots of stuff inside Unity, so do not skip a single minute unless you already know what to do and stuff like that. But I'd still highly suggest you not skip any parts of the video, because there's going to be some important stuff today. Anyways, CryptoGrounds here. Welcome back to another idle game tutorial series video. This is episode 17, and I'm going to say I am CryptoGrounds. Yes, I don't normally say that in my videos, but recently someone just stole my entire series and published it on Udemy. So luckily I got taken down. But for some reason that dumb moron didn't realize I had I have a logo in my script editor. So yeah. Anyways, don't steal my videos. I'll find out somehow. So today we are going to be, I know this is going to seem really boring, but I've gotten a comment talking about how I need to do better variable management instead of saying, oh, floats are used for only health bars and stuff. So I guess I can get into explaining that kind of stuff. And this is just going to be a big optimization video, because over the past 2 weeks, I haven't uploaded a single tutorial because I've been fully working on my game, optimizing it. So I'm going to show you some of my tips for that. And I know I have another one of these videos already, but trust me, this was even better than the one I've made in the past. So first of all, let's just start in the code. I mean, we just got to make things a little simpler. Also, I zoomed in so you guys can actually read it too. Okay, so finally loaded. I decided to add my webcam just for validation, I guess, because if some Indian publishes my entire series. I'm not Indian, clearly, so alright, so I'm using Writer, so I can easily just do all these suggestions real quick. Like, see, this is like the rename stuff. I personally don't do that because I don't really think it's that important, and I have my own rule of thumb for naming variables and stuff. But oh goodness, but there's some situations where variables can be private. So what? Yeah, with range. Okay, so the difference between a public and a private variable is public can be accessed anywhere. It can be accessed in a completely different class, and private can only be accessed inside this class. These we really don't need to manage anywhere else, so we can just make these private. So before you start changing things to private because you won't access it anywhere else, just keep in mind that your canvas groups, your UI stuff, Unity is going to use that, so it's got to be public. If you make it private, then it won't. Then you can't drag that text into the property in the inspector. You won't be able to drag it in here. If it's private, this just won't show up. All right. So yeah, make your variables that like your numbers stuff, not your UI stuff. Also, again, my script may look different because I got kind of screwed over. Alright, so this is just to make your canvas group changer easier, I guess. And honestly, this can go into a completely different class. So let's do this. Let's copy and paste this into a brand new class. You can make it into a new script, or you can just put it all the way at the bottom. But I'm going to create a public class. I'm going to put methods. This will be all of our global methods that we can use in any single script, and we can put our method in here. However, I want to make this a static. The reason why, I'll show you in a minute. So let's make this a public static void. Okay, so we have our public class mono behavior, or implements mono behavior, and the reason why we want this to be a static method is so we can use it wherever without having to declare methods. So let's see, if we make this not static, if we try methods dot canvas group changer, canvas group changer. It won't work because it's not static. We can't use this wherever we want to. So let's see, we want true. So we can't do this because it's not static. And we can't reference a static method and a non-static because this is a non-static method, right? If this was a static method right here, then well, this is a non-static class, so we'd still not be able to reference it. And this just causes a bunch of issues. So you can either solve this by closing the annotations because it's so annoying. You can do public methods, and then you can do methods.canvasGroupChange. So you can literally create method, or you can do, here, let's delete this. You can either do methods just for the name equals new methods. We are creating a methods object. You can do this, right? But honestly, I don't think we want a bunch of method objects when we can only have, we can make this static, where we can use this wherever we want to by just calling methods.canvasGroupChanger. So we're going to have to apply this to all of our previous groups. So now we don't have to drag an entire class or a brand new empty class in an empty game object into here, or to every other script that we want to use it. Because it's static, we can use it wherever we want to, no matter what. Alright. Also, yeah, that's public. So make sure this is a public class because we want to use it wherever, whenever. Okay. So let's actually make this simplified. So this is pretty easy. So I'm going to do y alpha, and we're going to use the question mark operator. So I'm going to show you how this works. So we're going to set it equal to if x, we can just put x. We don't need to see x equals true, because if it's just x, then it's true. If it's exclamation mark x, then it means it's false. So if we do x question mark, if it's true, if x is true, then we're going to set our alpha to 1, which we do here. If it's false, we put colon and then 0. So this is true, this is false. Pay close attention to that. This is very helpful and can simplify your code a lot in the future when it comes to if statements like this. So the y interactable, we could simply just set it to x, right? I don't know why I actually did this, but we could simply just set it to x. If this is true, this is true. If it's false, then this is false too. Same thing for the y block, blocks raycast. All right. So this is our canvas group changer. Okay. Looks like we have a lot of exponent, a lot of this garbage in here. So I have already created a method called notation method, which basically does the exact same as this. So if you used to have a bunch of these wandering around your script, make sure you clean those out. Let's see. Yeah, here it is right here. So we can just clean that up by copying this, setting our string equal to notation method. So we're gonna have to move this under. Is equal to notation method, and then we're gonna put that in there. Let's see, what else does it want us? I think it wants us to do F2 for our decimals. Now we can just delete this. That was pretty simple. We can change, let's see, this looks like 30 something lines. We can make this a pretty freaking easy 6-liner. So let's just replace some of this stuff. Data.that. Also, I want to discuss some issues too. So people have been trying to figure out why they can't convert a big double to an int. So first of all, casting is kind of weird with the break infinity namespace. It's because whoever made it, they kind of forgot to add that. So I'm gonna show you how to do that yourself, and I feel like that'd be cool because you get to see the experience of adding something to your number class. What's this? Production upgrade to cost. Also, you can make these var because this is already a string, so it knows that this is going to be a string. So we can just make it var. So that was much simplified, that's for sure. Now, I'm sure we can do more with this too. So I'm going to show you something real quick. I think this is kind of cool. So here, I'm going to make a method inside of our update method. So the rule with this is that we can't type public void blah blah blah. It's got to be just void, okay? And this can only be called inside the update. So this can be kind of a use of an organization thing. So I'm going to say, I'm going to make void by max UI. So now what we can do is, oh, we can make this a string. We're making this a string because we want to return a string. We can return by max. Another thing I want to show you guys. Sorry if there's a lot of new stuff. There's a lot to do when it comes to optimization. Add this $sign before string, so then you can use the brackets, the curly braces, and put variables inside. So I want to insert a number. I'm guessing this is a big double. Yeah. So we'll just do big double X. Put X in here. Format our Bimax UI, or Bimax format. That's what I'm going to call it. And then in here, you just got to do Bimax format, and then put this number in here. And there you go. That's it. Now, lengthwise, it's the same, but honestly, this looks a lot better because we can just change it. If we want to change by max with an exclamation mark, we can do that all just by changing one line. Make sure that's a 2. Okay. Let's see. We could do the same thing for the production upgrade, but we don't need to do that. So now, let's see. I think the rest of our script's pretty good. Yeah, it looks fine. So I don't think we need to do much in here. So next, I'm going to explain something about big doubles, stuff like that. So if your idle game, if you are guaranteed plan to go over e to the 300, if you go 308 power. Wait, am I stupid? Okay, so if you plan to go over E308, then I would use big double because, I mean, you can go higher numbers, you're safer, and you won't get to infinity or NAN, or yeah, it's infinity. But if you are planning to stay below that, you don't want to get too far, then I just suggest you to use double. It's a lot easier, or it's a lot smaller, and big double in the break infinity class is pretty hefty when it gets to the higher scaling numbers, of course. Let's go to our player data. So you see, I've used big double for everything. Now, this is not very efficient because, first of all, let's start with doubles. Doubles are 64-bit and floats are 32-bit. So clearly, bit doubles are 2 times bigger and need 2 times more RAM to manage than floats. And ints are 16. So that's 4 times smaller than a double. Now, what we can do here is see coins. Now, obviously, all of these can be doubles if you wanted to. I mean, I'm personally, in this tutorial, I'm not going to go beyond E308. So I would make these doubles. But for the sake of the tutorial and showing you how to use this namespace right here, the Break Infinity namespace, I want to show you how to use big double. So I'm going to make big double our coins, coins collected, coins per second, coins click value. Now the upgrades, those should be ints because I don't really think you're going to get over E38 levels. And if you plan on doing that, then make them floats or doubles. Or ints, what's their max? Isn't it like E10? No, E18? Int max value. I totally forgot. I think it's yeah, it's 2.14 E10. Okay. So if you plan on getting more than those levels, then I'd highly suggest you to use floats or doubles for that. Otherwise, use ints for your levels. We can do the same thing for our other levels. Our atch levels, honestly, can get a little crazy once we if it just doesn't reset. It could eventually get floats, but I'm gonna use floats for this, to be honest. Either floats or doubles are safe for this. Just remember, you only use certain variables if you know you're going to get past the max value at some point. Because honestly, once you have a game out and you have this save system and you're like, oh shoot, I gotta make this int a float, that person's gonna, everyone, once you publish that update, everyone's gonna lose their data for this variable because you're just changing it, unless you have some kind of version control. So after changing those, we're gonna get some errors. So let's check them out. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so yeah, we gotta change our method. What method is this? Update achievement. Right, so here we have our big double level. So before you comment, oh, I have an error right here, make sure you change this to the correct one, which is going to be an int. No, it's a float. I made that a float. Yep, that fixes that. Let's see what's going on here. Level, okay, so I see. We are trying to add a big double to our float. So this is probably a good time to show you how to make you be able to cast float, or you can simply just change this to float levels. All right, so see how you can do this right now. All right, let's go to our break infinity script. So it's big double.cs, and it's very long. We are going to add a casting operator. I think this is the good spot right here. So we're going to call this public static, because we want to use everywhere, explicit. Now this means we're going to cast something. It's going to happen outside of the variable, I guess we can say. Big double, and we are going to do, let's do float value, and we are going to return new float. No, we're going to return float value dot to double. Oh, right. So this is actually a float on the outside, and this is big double because we're casting float to the big double. So we're gonna do to double. So now I don't know if I've explained this in the past, but I've definitely explained this in the comment section below. But in order to cast a big double, you need to convert it to to double first and then the float. But now we will be able to do that in our normal script. We just can't do it in here because we're defining that. We are creating our own casting operator, which I think is pretty cool. Now we don't need to make a double one, but we can make an int. So we can cast int, so we can convert a big double into an int. All right. So now, again, the issue with this is that we got to be careful with values bigger than its maximum. All right. So we have two casts. We have float and int. So now if we go back here, this will work. We can do int as well. Very cool. Again, the safer method is literally just changing this to floats. But I thought this is just pretty cool to show you. What else is next? Okay. So n is a big double. So this is kind of like an issue here. Actually, it's not an issue. All we gotta do is convert it to float. No, we gotta convert it to int. So again, remember, watch for those max values. And if you're getting over that point, then you need to raise that into a float. Cast the n here. Cast the int here. Cast int here. And we are error free. This is going to be kind of a long video because I have got lots of stuff to do. And I'm probably going to change the whole Canvas group change system, even though I just showed you how to simplify it, because that would be good to use in the future, learning how to use question mark operators. Ignore those errors. Alright, we didn't add anything, so if we save, play, everything should run just fine. Perfecto. Alright, so now you probably don't know what this is, but if you tap these three dots right here, add tab and profiler, here you can see your performance, and this becomes a very important part of building your game for people to test. You really want to see if it performs well. So if we run this right now, we get about 60 FPS, and this is honestly, I mean, this is with the profiler. Let's see, we're getting around 100 FPS. Because this is also VSync. So if we get rid of the VSync, yeah, we're getting around 100 FPS with some lag spikes, which we can reduce. So let's see. So how we can do this? Now we have to turn on deep profile. So if your computer does not have a lot of RAM, unfortunately, this is gonna suck for you. That's what I can tell you. Be sure to save your project. It's gonna be pretty laggy. The deep profile is very intense. I can tell you that. I've had some issues. And also, do not turn on call stacks unless you really know what you're doing and you have like 16 or more gigabytes of RAM, because it really eats up your RAM. I've had so many issues with it in the past. I just don't use it. Because what we can do in here is we can pause the game. So now we see all these lag spikes, right? So this looks like this is just editor related, which is me probably dragging this and causes a little bit of lag. So what we can do is look for something that's very heavy use in the player loop. So let's check right here. We can go to update script run here. Script run behavior updates. So now here you can access your update method right here, which is taking up 16% of the CPU at this current time frame, which is not. This is very. This is like 100 FPS right here, but we can see when a method is causing a lot of lag spikes. So here it's our save system. I mean, what is this happening every 5 seconds? I think. No, it's happening every frame. So, okay, let's start optimization here. So let's create a public float save timer. You can put it wherever you want. I'm just putting it below my update method so you guys can see that. We're going to add time.delta time 1 per second. If save timer, I'm doing you can do it every 5, 15 seconds. I recommend 15 seconds. So it auto saves every 15 seconds. So if your save timer is greater or equal than 15, then we are going to save and we're going to reset the timer to 0. So now another thing you can do here, it's recommending me to do, I'm going to press Alt Enter. We're going to invert this if statement. So basically, if the save timer is not 15 or greater, then we're just going to return it. Otherwise, if it is, we're going to use this. And now the reason why this works here is because this save system is at the very bottom of the update method. So if you want to do this, make sure it's at the very bottom of your update method. And honestly, it should be anyways. So make sure it's under everything. All right. So now this should reduce it just a slight bit. We probably won't see anything too big. But you can see that save player is, you could see it running quite a bit. So now let's play it. We should see a little less. Probably not too much. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, you can't really tell, but you don't see that anymore. So now it's just wait for target FPS, which that's the VSync. That's this right here. And a lot of this is just the editor loop. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you something on what you probably are going to have to do at some point. This canvas group system is not going to work for long. I'm telling you that. All right. So this is one part of the video where you cannot skip, because if you forget one thing, you're going to be coming to me asking, why is this not working? Why is it not working? But I'm going to explain everything what to do, so please pay attention. We're going to get rid of all these canvas groups. Before we do that, set them all to 1 and turn these on. All right. Get rid of them. We are going to use canvases instead. This is something I learned. The more canvases you use, and I'm not saying use a canvas for every single object, I'm saying for like every screen, everything will become more optimized. So what you're going to type is graphic raycaster, and it automatically adds a canvas the correct way, which is inherit pixel perfect, and yeah, it just looks just like this. Because basically, our goal is to just have these disabled and have the UI updates only when you are looking at the page. The numbers and stuff will update in the background no matter what. But all the text stuff, none of that will update unless you are watching it. And that will definitely perform better than having everything update at once. All right. Now this is something I've learned with my game. I was able, by doing this, my game used to run at like 10 to 15% CPU, and now it's down to a minimum of 3 to 4%. So it's very, very good optimization. I'm telling you, this is probably one of the best things you can do now. Another one being you use as least shadows and outlines as possible. All right. So like if you have a text and you add an outline, use these as least as possible, because that will these surprisingly take up a lot of your CPU, especially when you have hundreds of them. So now here we have our main screen, upgrade screen, and achievement screen. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go back to our main script. Let's look for our canvas groups right here. We are going to replace these with canvas, canvas, and canvas. So we should get some errors. So now what we can do here is main menu group dot game object dot set active true. This just turns it on. Upgrades group, and then we'll make that false. Also, the reason why this works well is because our scripts are not inside of the canvas or the game object. So the problem with this is that if we have scripts inside of, like right here, for example, if we have a script right here and this is off, it won't run at all. So this is why we keep all of our scripts on the outside. Even in fact, I'm going to create an empty object called scripts. You want your scripts on the outside. Scripts, scripts, save system. There you go. Make sure all your scripts are on the outside, or else this system will not work for you. All right. I'm sure you guys have been following along pretty well. Most of you guys are doing pretty good. All right, more errors down here. All right, so main menu group dot game object dot set active false. Copy this, achievements, upgrades, true. All right. Then here we can copy this for that, but make this true, make this false. And then achievements, make achievements true, and main menu false. And just like that. It's the same thing, but we're just toggling the canvas itself, or the game object itself. In full reset, we are going to make main menu true. And honestly, we're actually just going to change tabs. Change tabs. Let's see. Upgrades. No, we're going to do main. Main. Alright. So we don't use this anymore, but you can always use this in the future. I still use canvas groups in my game, but I use canvases for the main page system. So now the problem is the UI is still gonna update in the background because we have our script right here. It's gonna run all this UI. So now this is the really cool thing, is that what we can do is we can separate this into user interface for each. So let's see, so prestige will all be right here. All right. So we need to group things together. Achievements. So yeah, achievements has let's start and run achievements. This will be a little easier because we already have it separated. So now here is the issue is, actually no, it's not an issue. Well, what we can do here is go to our update achievements, and now this annotation thing. What we can do is make an if statement. So if the achievements group dot game object dot active self, not active because that's just obsolete, so that won't work. So active self. If it's open right now, we are going to update this UI. Otherwise, we want to have this leveling up action going on still, no matter what. We just want the user interface to not update while we're gone. All right, so that's part of it. So we have our achievements done. Let's see, we have all of our upgrades here. This looks like all the user interface for, let's group all this together. Cool. So right here we have our main screen. So if main menu group dot game object dot set active, no, it's active self. active self. If it's true, we're going to update our UI for our main page. And actually, let's see. Our coins will always update. So let's see. What always updates? Coins, gems, coins per second, and let's see. Let's turn this off. Yeah, so just this stuff. So coins can stay out of it. Coins per second can stay out of it. Gems can stay out of it, and gems boost. So pretty much just these two. Unless you want to hide the header, make it only update or something like that when this is enabled. Alright, so upgrades is probably going to be the biggest one. So we can keep all of our upgrades here. Actually, let's get the strings together. So if upgradesgroup.gameObject.activeSelf is true, then we want to update the string. Now we don't have to. Now we want to put this in here because this is just creating random garbage that we don't need. We only need our actual cost. And honestly, if we had auto buyers, the cost has to go on the outside. But in our situation, since we don't have that, we're not buying any sort of upgrades, we can literally put this in here if we wanted to. But remember, if you have an auto buyer that auto buys the upgrades, it's got to stay on the outside because it's got to keep refreshing that cost. Alright. So we could put all of this UI in here. Delete this. We get more production costs. Just gonna move everything in order. There we go. We have our entire upgrades method only being updated when we're looking at it. Again, if you have an auto buyer that autos buy any sort of upgrades, the cost has got to stay on the outside. Alright? Because we got to keep updating that cost. Since we don't do that in this video or in this tutorial or in our game right now, we can keep the cost inside in this if statement. So now we have our UI updating for menu or for the main, upgrades, and achievements. And this honestly should perform a lot better. So let's take a look at this. Take a look at this before. I'm going to disable vsync. Now, we still might get a lot of editor related stuff. Let's see, can I turn this off? Yeah, it's fine. So let's play it. Let's see how this goes. In our game manager, we have to redrag our canvases as well. So we have our main screen, our upgrade screen, and our achievement screen. And this is really cool how it actually all works out in the end. I should have not cleared on play. See how much less blue there is? That is amazing. So now actually this is the cool thing. Watch this. I'm going to turn off vsync or the others. So let's take a look at this. Ready? We're going to go to upgrades. Ready? See how much more CPU is being used for your upgrade screen? If we go back to main, look, it's barely even used. Same with achievements. It's kind of not really used. It's upgrades that does all the heavy stuff. So now we have a spike. What's up here? This looks like it's just, oh, this is not editor. This is actually, let's see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is just render, pre-render. So yeah, this right here, this honestly doesn't matter if you get a lag spike when you go to the upgrade screen. That's just the thing. That's just Unity turning on or re-enabling the canvas. All right. So I think this is all the advice I have for really, really, really good optimization. I don't know if you noticed that, but like the difference between here, while not in upgrades, and here and being in upgrades can be very substantial once you have more content in your game. And this could easily bring your heavy 60 megabyte game running at 40 to 50 frames per second to probably 120 or more. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. hope you guys did not skip to the very end and actually watched all of it, because every single minute you guys watch means so much to me. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers, so let me down below if you, what I should do for my 1,000 subscriber special. Anyways, thank you all. Have a good day or night. Peace. Also, another thing I wanted to mention is if you guys have any questions or bugs related to your code, make sure you please send a script like hastebin.com or hatebin.com. Make sure you use those and not just spam the entire code into the comments section, because that can get kind of floody and annoying, and it could be marked as spam and I won't even see it at all. So make sure you guys do that. And also, please make sure before you even comment, save some time and watch some parts of the video again if you get stuck. And look up the error too if you need help, because that could be a little faster than me responding. I know I've said this a few times in the past, but I'm telling you, it will save you lots of time. Anyways, I love helping you guys, so if you guys have any questions or need help still, let me down below. See ya.